Good morning, everybody. How is everybody? Kevin, how you doing?
Here.
Sometimes it just feels like that, doesn't it? Genevieve, are you here?
I'm here.
Good. And Jose. Okay, well, Jose's still getting there. that has nothing to do with Qigong, but I think it's really funny. There's a line in the Tao Te Ching, a single line, that says, if it were not for laughter, the Tao would not be the Tao. Reach up and grab. All right. Pull right down into these 2 points right here. And then move it right into the center. And sink it to the dantian. And then give it a second, a moment. All right. And then reach into the ground. Reach into the ground, and then pull the energy up the side of the legs, and then behind the great trochanter, right behind, and circle the hips, and then sink it into the dantian. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. And just stay in neutral. Breathe in. Breathe out. Stay in neutral. Breathe in. Breathe out. Neutral. Breathe in, breathe out. So when you do any of these exercises, this is a gathering exercise. So you're literally bringing chi from the cosmos into your body. And when the first exercise we do, like this, is a washing exercise. You're washing it through the body, all the way down and out the bottom of the feet. So It's like standing under a waterfall and letting the water just wash your chi all the way through to the into the earth. But this is a gathering exercise, so it doesn't just wash through and go away, it stays in your body. All right? Yang chi from heaven, all right? Warm and light, into the Dan Chen. And you have to feel this to make it work. When you bring it in, one of the things that you want to feel, it's not the only thing, but one of the things you want to feel is your breath. All right? So you're blowing your body up by breathing in. And then relaxing. And remember, you do reverse yogic breathing when you do these exercises. You should always do reverse yogic breathing, but it's too difficult to practice in many of the modalities we practice. But this one is relatively easy because it's a very rhythmic, slow exercise. So it's easy to practice reverse yogic breathing, and it still feels natural. Your breathing should always feel natural. Don't force yourself into some kind of breathing pattern that feels artificial. It should always feel natural, right? But when you breathe in, right, your whole body expands, and you think, well, I'm breathing in. I'm breathing into my lungs, which is true. But you're also breathing into your whole trunk, especially with baby breathing, reverse yogic breathing. You should be breathing all the way down to the perineum. And you do that by activating the pelvic diaphragm down here, not just this diaphragm, both diaphragms. And in fact, when you breathe in, you want it to breathe into everything in your body. Every cell in your body should feel like it's expanding and getting a good meal of yang energy. Right? Breathe in, right? Oh, everything's expanding, right? And then sink it into the Dan Chen. All right, when you sink it into the Dan Chen, something different happens. Because in a certain sense, you've filled the whole body, but now you're focusing it, you're concentrating it in the Dan Chen. And the Dan Chen is the site of the triple burner, right? Or at least one aspect of the triple burner. It's a burner in Chinese vernacular is a little tiny grill, and they would put them out like when we would go to a traditional restaurant, when there were still traditional restaurants in Beijing. You would order a meat dish. They would take a little grill out onto the sidewalk and grill your meat right there for you, right? That's what they're talking about. It's a little grill inside there. Well, what does that mean? It's a little burner. It's a little thing that transforms one energy into another energy. So the one down low here translates what's called Jing energy, Jing, Jing energy. And you can think of that as your biological energy, right? And it transforms it into Qi. So it's moving it from a lower grade to a higher grade, all right? So you've gathered this cosmic Qi, you sink it into the body, and then the easiest way to think about it for me is you let it cook. It cooks just for, well, it's cooking all the time, but it cooks for a moment, all right? And you want to give that a moment of awareness, all right? Oh, it cooks, and then boom, you go right on a second later, and you gather yin qi from earth. Yin qi is dark and cool, all right? You bring it up, all right? And then into the Dan Chen, through the back, particularly through the Ming Men in the back. And you roll it forward. And you bring it up and then roll it forward into the Dan Chen. So now you've got yang energy from heaven and yin energy from earth, right? And you're mixing them together. It's the same thing. It cooks a little bit. So take your time when you bring the yin qi into your body. It's the same thing as the yang qi. Feel it in your body all the way out to the edges of the body and the tips of your fingers and the tips of your toes. Your whole being. Right? Yang qi. Let it cook. When it cooks, now it radiates out again to every part of the body. But it's a little different energy because you've cooked it. So instead of just being, you could think of it as being, when you bring it into the body as raw, right? And now you've cooked it. And now it spreads out again to every part of the body. So, yang qi into the body. Let it cook, and it radiates out to every cell in the body. And then grab yin qi from earth, breathe it up into the body, breathe it out, let it cook, and again it radiates out to every part of the body. So you could do these exercises without moving your physical body. You don't have to do this. You can just do it with your mind. By engaging your physical body, it strengthens it, particularly in the first few years. And by few years, I mean the first 15 or 20 years. All right? You're moving the physical body, and that heightens your awareness of what's going on. All right? It's also good to do. I think it's really good for your physical body to do this. So you can do it just with the mind. I can bring yang qi in from heaven. I can feel it coming in, going down to my dan qian, cooking, radiating out to all parts of the body. That's called jian zhuang. Jian zhuang means standing post, because I'm standing like a post, or you could say a standing tree. When Master Feng was learning HUNYUAN Qigong from Master Hu, he worked with him for 11 years to really learn this routine. And we only do a little part of the routine. The whole routine probably takes 90 minutes or so to do. And he did Jian Zhuang meditation for 2 hours every morning. What that means was he did standing meditation for 2 hours. Just standing absolutely still for 2 hours. Well, what are you doing for 2 hours? You should not be thinking about the fact that you need to go to the grocery store later that day. You're thinking about your qi. You're using your mind to feel the movement of qi in your body and the movement of qi through the world around you. Why do you do it for 11 years? Because it takes 11 years to figure out what's going on. The master can't tell you. I mean, he can tell you, but you have to experience it. So, when we do the 3 Taiji Qigongs, which is the same thing, right? Gather a mixture of yang and yin energy that's level, so that when you gather level like this, it's like gathering energy from everything that's living on the face of the earth. Right? It's partly yang and partly yin. You sink it into the dan qian, and then you let it cook. Just let it cook while you sit and relax a little bit. And your inner eye should be on your dan qian. Your eyes can be open, they can be closed, it doesn't matter. They should be on your dan qian. You should be listening to your dan qian. You should be tasting your dan qian. Now, usually in the classes, because we only take 45 or 50 minutes to do a class, so it's not very much time. We don't do the whole routine. We do a select number of them, and it's kind of too bad in a way, because the routine itself is not flat. It builds on itself. So the first thing you do is wash the qi through. So you're just washing out all the old bad qi, out with the old qi, in with the new qi. And then you don't do the facial stuff. Then you go immediately into gathering exercises, and then you do circulation exercises, and then you do medicinal exercises, which usually that's when you do the facial stuff too. And then you do a little closing ceremony. So to do the whole routine takes a good 90 minutes or so. And we only have half that amount of time, so I pick and choose exercises that seem good to me, that I like. And I think it's really worthwhile to do that. But just remember, Grandmaster Feng took 11 years to truly learn this routine. And you go, my God, it's so simple. I mean, what is there to learn? It's not learning the movements, it's learning yourself that is so difficult to move from that attitude that, oh, this is so simple, I get it, to this is amazing. This is something that's, no matter how many years you do it, there's still an aspect of it that's a kind of mystery, how it works, right? You've been breathing your whole life, but your breathing is a mystery. Right? Okay. Let's do mixing. So let's pretend we've done several exercises to gather chi. We do 3 of them in our normal classes, but let's just pretend we've done all those. Now you want to mix them. Well, what do you mean mix? You're mixing yang qi from heaven with yin qi from earth. So you're mixing light and dark. You're also mixing all that new energy with the old energy that's in your body. Now you've washed some of the stale stuff out, but of course you still have energy in your body. So now you're mixing. And you do that just by, right, rolling the Dan Chin. Right? All the way from the bottom of your feet to the top of your head. Right? Inside. And reverse. So Master Zhang used to describe this part, this mixing part, which we're doing very formally right now, but you kind of do it informally through a lot of exercises. He described this as making Chinese dumplings. So, Chinese dumplings are a special treat for your birthday, things like that, because your mom's going to have to make them. And how she makes them is she takes a giant bowl like this, and she fills it full of rice powder, rice flour, very finely ground rice flour, and then adds cold water. And then she's going to mix it. And he would say, the rice powder is your yang energy, the cold water is your yin energy, and then you have to mix them. And that's what makes the dough. And the dough is down here in your pelvic bowl, right? Which really is like a bowl if you look at the anatomy. And then he would say, Inside, you make a Tai Chi baby. You make a Tai Chi baby, all right? You're cooking what the Taoists call your immortal body. It doesn't really mean your physical body is going to live forever. It's really about cooking your inner awareness, all right? So it's just a matter of being aware of this. We spend our days, I don't know about you, but I'll talk about me. You spend your days running around like a chicken with your head cut off, having to do this and do that, write everything, talk to everybody, do this, do that. You never just be quiet. All right? This is about being quiet and just feeling yourself. You're not trying to make it do anything. You're just feeling it. That's all you're doing. The Taoists and the Zen masters say the same way. You don't do meditation to get enlightened. You don't do meditation to get enlightened. Meditation is itself enlightenment. All right? You don't do it to go from here to there. You just do it to do it. It's the same thing. All right? So you mix all this, reverse, and then breathe it into your chest. And your Lao Gong in the center of the palm, not quite the center of the palm, but a little bit up toward your index finger, all right? On the nipples, because the nipples are acupuncture points, and so they're ways to come in and out of the body energetically. You put those points on the nipples, and you breathe out into your hands, and you just breathe your stress out. You breathe anything that's bothering you in your body, stiffness or pain, tiredness, anything like that. You just breathe out into your hands. I often think of it as static. I'm breathing the static in my body out into my hands, and then you just knock them off into the ground. Breathe out into your hands. And when your hands feel full, and finally, one last one. Now, the next exercises are about giving yourself a little Reiki treatment. You can touch yourself to do these exercises if you want. I don't touch myself. I keep my hands about 6 inches off my body, and I'm just going around and around all the soft organs of the body: lungs, liver, pancreas, kidneys, right? And reverse. And I'll tell you what it feels like for me. This is the image that comes to my mind. Um, I have several big soft pillows on my bed. And when I go to bed at night, I fluff the pillows up, right? They've gotten all mushed down from the night before. So I pick those pillows up and I flop them out and I punch them up and get them nice and, right? Nice and worked up again. That's exactly what it feels like inside. It's like you're just giving everything a little bit of bounce, a little bit of air, a little bit of room. And it's really good for your health, right? Especially in the morning. Just give everything a little room and a nice chi bath, right? And now you're going to do the same thing for your head and your spine, right? And reverse. So you can do those 9 times one direction, 9 times the other direction, or sometimes I do them 12 times. But pay attention to how your body feels when your hands are 3 inches away, 6 inches away, 2 feet away, right? It feels like, even though you're not touching yourself, it feels like a kind of pressure. There's some feeling. And what it feels like for me is, I mean, I don't think about this, I just follow the feeling. But at first, I'm in closer to the body. And then after I do that 2 or 3 times, it's actually not comfortable to do it close to my body anymore, because I've worked up some kind of energy field, right? So now I have to go farther away from my body to stay comfortable. Same in either direction. Usually by the time I get to the second one, I have to be farther away from my body, because there's an electromagnetic or a bioelectric field that's happening between your hands and your body. And you may not be aware of this at first, but the more you do this, the more you'll start to feel it. And you start to get sensitive about it. You can close your eyes and somebody else can move their hand over your body and you can feel it. The hairs on your body will stand up because you're actually feeling that energy field, right? So you want to be sensitive to that all the way through. Now I'll tell you a story. I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks and I have to go try to find it. But there is a gentleman out on the East Coast who is autistic. He's a very high functioning autistic guy. And when he was in high school, the thing that he liked to do was work on cars. That was his thing. Now, it wasn't academic work. He liked to work with his body on cars. And he got really, really good at it. And he started fixing the expensive cars of his own family as well as his family's friends. And eventually, he started a garage where people could bring their cars in and he would fix them. But he only worked on the super high-end cars, right? So he made a lot of money. He's very wealthy. And he's still got this company, or at least he did 10 years ago. And but he tells this story. He's very well known on the East Coast for his excellent work with these very high-end cars. But he tells this story about what it's like to be autistic. He said, the thing with me, among other things, is I never understood how other people felt. I could not put myself in their shoes and feel what they were feeling. So people would tell me, friends would tell me, that I was kind of cold because I just was not empathetic in that way. Well, through some of his other friends, he got involved with a research group at MIT who were researching autism and what that means. And they had, one of these machines where they put all the what do you call them, Kevin? All the connections on your head.
Electrode.
Yeah, electrodes on your head, right? And then they look at what's happening in your brain when you do certain things. And so he volunteered as an autistic person to do this. And they did this and they did that. And then one day they said, now we're going to put this on your head and we're going to send a microcharge, like a millionth of 1 watt. So it's a very, very, very low charge. And I don't remember exactly how it was to go, but it was from the base of the spine to the front. And they did that. And he said, I could feel it. I could feel it move through my body. It's a very minor little charge, but it moved through his body. And he said, okay, great, they're done for the day, and they leave. And then he said, by the time I got home, my brain changed. I started understanding what other people were feeling. And the next day, and it was very upsetting to me because I had never felt that before. And the next day he called them and said, this is what's going on and this is changing my whole life and everything. And I said, oh, well, it's probably just a transient result of what we did. Don't worry about it, it'll go away. Well, it didn't go away. That micro charge changed his brain. When you're doing this, you're doing the same kind of microcharging. It's pretty clear what happened to him. For whatever reason, he never developed. I mean, he had a brain, he had a well-developed brain. It never turned on, so to speak, until they did this charge through his brain. And then something turned on. It's like they flipped a switch. Literally. And he said, it's changed my life completely, etc., etc., and then he talks about it. But we do the same thing, guys. My hands are buzzing. Literally buzzing. Zzz, zzz, right? When you do this kind of work, you're passing an electric charge through your body. A bioelectric charge. Somebody asked Master Zhang once, Master Feng once, what is Qi? And he says, Qi is magnetic, and it's bioelectric, and it's a whole bunch of other stuff that we don't understand. Right? Qi is just their umbrella name for what they feel inside. All right? When we're doing this Sunday morning class, I keep telling everybody this is the most important class. It's the most subtle. All right? It's very subtle. Most people are so busy running, they never have time to feel these things. When I would push hands with Chen Shang, Kevin, Chen Shang was one of Master Feng's last great disciples. He was very well known in China as a martial artist. He's a serious martial artist. And started in Mongolian wrestling, which, if you know anything, is a very, very serious wrestling regime. But when you would push hands with him, when he would touch you, it was as light as a butterfly. It's like barely touching. All right? Push hands is not about beating the other guy. Push hands is about becoming more sensitive. And if you're doing this, you can't get more sensitive. You're getting less sensitive. So this very well known, big, strong martial artist, just as light as a feather. We also did some things that weren't light as a feather, but right, when he was doing push hands, it's very light. When you're doing this Sunday morning class, it's like you're doing that kind of push hands with yourself. It's very light. You're just feeling. And I'll tell you guys, Kevin will appreciate this. I don't know about you guys, because I don't think either of you grew up in the American Midwest. Did you? Yes? Okay. Then you know when you grow up in the Midwest, you don't feel subtle things, right? It's like, it's meat and potatoes. It's get out and plow the South 40. And for guys, you don't feel anything. And you don't have emotions, right? Well, of course you do, but the truth is they're suppressed. And this kind of exercise, it seems so simple, but what's happening is you're going back to your original roots and letting yourself be as sensitive as you were when you were a little baby and you first got here. That's what HUNYUAN means. It means original. Your original self. Boom. All right. I don't know why I got into talking today, but I must have felt like it was a good idea to do. All right. Pay attention. Pay attention to your, I don't know if you can see my fingers. You can't really, but they're bright red and they're really puffy. All right? They weren't that way before we started. They're that way now because I've relaxed all the way out to the end of my fingers. All right, guys, if you're going to stay for Tai Chi, give me until 1/4 past the hour. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Ciao.